Welcome to the video tutorial for the Mandarin Delight stitch pattern. The designer's sample was made with multicolor yarn. For the video, I'm using 2 shades of yarn so you can clearly see which row I'm on and how they work together. So you can use whichever supplies you want, the types of yarn, the weight of yarn, as long as you have the appropriate size hook for your yarn. And you can make this in whatever size you prefer for blankets, scarves, and so on. I'm going to just be working a small sample to show you how the stitch pattern works. So to start, we're going to make a chainless single crochet foundation row. If you're working your work, you want to have multiples of 16 stitches. So if you want the pattern to go horizontal, you make this foundation single crochet row for as wide as you would like. Or if you want the pattern to go vertically, you will make the foundation single crochet row as long as you want. So I'm going to work 2 sets of 16 stitches, so 32 stitches plus 3 for our starting foundation single crochet. So I'll chain 2 to start, and then insert my hook in this first chain, pull up a loop like a single crochet, but we'll yarn over, pull through 1 first, yarn over, pull through 2 for that first single crochet. Then the hook goes into that first chain 1, or the chain 1 we did at the bottom of that single crochet, to pull up another loop, yarn over, pull through 1 to make that chain, yarn over, pull through 2. And we repeat this for as many stitches as we need for our chainless foundation single crochet. So you can see as I'm working it, the row is almost sideways, and when I turn it this way, you can see how we have those single crochets. So you could go ahead and do that for as many as you need, depending on the project you're making, and I'll meet you back at the end of that. So remember, it's a multiple of 16 plus 3 more single crochet. So I have my chainless foundation single crochet row complete. I have a total of 35 stitches. That's 16 times 2 plus the extra 3 needed for the pattern. So we're going to turn our work and we'll work a starting double crochet. So you can either do this as a chain 3, or if you know a technique of making a starting double crochet, I make my loop a bit longer, twist my hook around that loop and into the first stitch to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through that loop and the twisted double crochet, and then pull through 2. So this is often referred to as a twisted double crochet or a starting double crochet. And then we're going to double crochet in each of the stitches across the row. So for my sample, I need 35 double crochet for row 1. So you can go ahead and work those double crochet in each of the stitches, and I'll meet you for the next row. So for row 2, we will make single crochet in each stitch down the side. I like to start with a chain 1 on my single crochet rows, but that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. We just insert our hook in that first stitch and in each of the stitches down the row for a single crochet row. So you could go ahead and work yours, make sure you count that you have the same as your starting amount of stitches. So I have changed colors here to make it more visible or easier to see on the video. You may be working with self-changing colors, you may be working with scrap yarn. The suggestion for using this pattern for a scrap one is you just change your color wherever you run out of your previous color. So we will start this row by making a starting double crochet in that very first stitch. and we will double crochet in each of the next 5. So including our starting stitch, that will be 6 double crochet to start this row. So 4, 5, and 6 are starting double crochet plus 5 more. So then we chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to make a slip stitch around the 4th single crochet 3 rows below. So if we look at our starting stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want to come down and slip stitch around that stitch. You can see how we recreated this chain 6 loop in front of our work then. Then we chain 1, and I'm turning my work so that I can work this next set of stitches into this chain 6 space, or around this chain 6. We do not count these next stitches as in our stitch count. So we've chained 1, and we're going to make 7 double crochet into this chain 6 space that we just made. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 double crochet in that chain 6 space. And then working back on our single crochet row, we want to double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 chains again. So you may find it helpful to go along that foundation row and put a stitch marker in the 4th single crochet down the row, as those are the ones we will be using for our slip stitch after our chain 6. So I've completed my next chain 6, and I'll find that next stitch marker and make a slip stitch around that marker there. Chain 1, and then turning my work to work in this chain 6 space, we'll make 7 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7 double crochet in that chain 6 space, and then we'll come back up to our single crochet row, and in the next stitch work double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we'll continue that down the row. Chain 6, slip stitch down 3 rows below on that 4th single crochet from our last slip stitch, chain 1, turn your work to place 7 double crochet in that chain 6 space. Okay, so you'll continue that down the row, and I will meet you just before the end of this row. So I've worked my way down the row doing those repeated elements, and after my final one you should have one stitch left on that single crochet row. We will place a double crochet in that final single crochet to finish row 3. So then we'll turn and we'll work another row of single crochet. So this time you want to make sure that you're just working into the stitches that are worked into the single crochet row. So we're not going to be working into the double crochets, those 7 double crochet in the chain 6. So I've made a single crochet in our first double crochet, I'm skipping that element, and then in these next 4 stitches I will work a single crochet. Okay, and then I've reached the next element, skipping that, and just working single crochets into those double crochet that were worked into the previous single crochet row. So you can go ahead and work this single crochet row all the way down. So when you have finished the row, it will look something like this. You want to be careful that you've worked the single crochet in that last stitch or that starting double crochet. And then you'll also want to make sure that you have marked that first single crochet of the row, which when we turn now for the next row will then be the last stitch of the row. So for row 5, we are going to start with that starting double crochet, whichever method you are most comfortable with. And then we'll make one more double crochet in that next stitch, and we will start our chain 6 elements. So chain 3, 4, 5, 6 chain, and we're going to slip stitch around that 4th single crochet 3 rows below. So that will be our single crochet row that we worked our row 3 into. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, I missed the first one here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So after our chain 6, we will make that slip stitch around that stitch. Chain 1, and then we'll work those 7 double crochet into that chain 6 that we just made. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So then if you wish on this row as well, you can mark your stitches you'll be slip stitching around. So 1, 2, which is this one here, 3, 4. So it should be in between these elements where we make our next slip stitch. So it's a bit tricky to count. You have to count sort of through or underneath that chain 6 to get the right stitch. So again, we will work into the next stitch and make double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. 2, 3, and 4. So I'll make our chain 6 again. 4, 5, 6 chain, and then coming down around our next marked stitch or that 4th stitch past our starting slip stitch, we'll slip stitch around that single crochet. chain 1, turn the work to make those 7 double crochet in that chain 6 space we just made. Six and 7 double crochet. Okay, so you can see how these elements will be in between the elements from our previous row. Okay, you just continue to work that down the side, double crochet in the next 4, chain 6, then finding that 4th stitch again, 1, 2, 3 and 4, slip stitch around that 4th single crochet 3 rows below, chain 1, making our 7 double crochet in that chain 6 space, and so on down the row. So you can go ahead and work your way down. I will meet you back just at the end of this row. When you've worked your way down the row, you will want to end up with the same amount of elements as you did on the first time. So I had 8 elements in my first set, and I've completed my 8 elements for row 5. Then you will double crochet in each of the next 5. So I've done 4 double crochet, and then where we have placed that marker, make sure we add a double crochet in the top of that single crochet to complete row 5. Row 6 is a repeat of row 2, so that's the single crochet row. So you can go ahead and work that now, placing single crochet in those first 5 double crochet. Okay, not working anything on the element, and then single crochet in each of those 4 double crochets in between the elements until you get to the end of the row. As you get to the end of the row, after that last set of 4 double crochet and just past that last element, there are 2 stitches that we need to make a single crochet into. And that is how we work this stitch pattern. So for row 7, you just repeat row 3, and then row 8 is another row of single crochet. For row 9, you repeat row 5, and you continue that as many times as you wish. And enjoy this unique stitch pattern. So I've gone ahead and worked a few more partial rows, and you can see the more we work this pattern, the more these elements crisscross and intertwine with each other to fill in the fabric.